Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be making a tutorial on how to cut this simple female trouser. So if this is something that interests you, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. So this is the fabric that we'll be using for this tutorial. So these are our measurements. So we are going to be dividing our waist measurements by 4. So waist measurement divided by 4 is 9.75. Then we divide our hip measurement also by 4. The hip measurement is 48 divided by 4, that's 12 inches. Then our thigh measurement, we are going to be dividing that by 2. So the thigh measurement is 31 divided by 2, that's 15.5, or approximately 16 inches. So our knee circumference measurement is 19 inches. We are going to be dividing that by 2 as well, and that's 9.5. Then our feet of 14 inches, we are going to divide that by 2 as well, and that's 7 inches. So the next measurement on this paper is the crotch depth. Crotch depth is the distance between your waist and your the middle of your two legs. So to measure this, you can use your hip measurement divided by 4, or you can decide to sit on a flat surface and measure it from your waist down to that flat surface. So the trouser length is 43 and the knee length is 25 inches. So the knee length means the distance between the waists, from the waist to the knee. So now we are going to look for the largest circumference after division, and the largest measurement after division is our thigh measurement, which is 16 inches. So that's what we are going to use to fold our fabric. So we are going to make use of this 16 inches, and we are going to add like 3 or 4 inches to it. So we'll go ahead and fold our fabric now. So I've gone ahead to fold my fabric with the thigh measurement plus 4 inches, and that's 20 inches. So what I have here now is 20 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark 1 inch from the beginning of the fabric, and that's going to serve as our starting point. Then on the other side as well, on the folded side of this fabric, I'm going to measure 1 inch as well, from the starting point of the fabric down to the end of the fabric. So now the next thing is to insert all my vertical measurements starting from the starting point. The starting point is where we are going to be inserting our waist measurements. So I'm going to be attaching waistband to this trouser. So I'm going to be throwing off about 1.5 inches on the waist. So the line I first of all made was my hip line of 10 inches. Then this second line I'm making now is my crotch depth of 13 inches. Then after that, I'm going to be marking my knee length of 25 inches. Mind you, your tape is going to be starting at 1.5 inches, if that is what you are throwing off. If you are throwing off 2 inches, your tape will be, you place your tape at 2 inches at the beginning, at the starting point of that measurement. Then I'm going to go ahead and insert the trouser length, and I will add 1.5 allowance to the trouser length that we are going to use to hem the down part of the trouser. So after marking all the lines, the next thing I'm going to do is to insert my hip measurement on my waistline, on my hip line, and on the crotch depth. Remember, we marked the starting point and the folding on the side, so all our measurements will start at that side, that starting point. So after marking my hip line on those points, I'm going to my hip measurement on those points, I'm going to mark a straight line. Then I'll go to my crotch depth. So on that crotch depth line, I'm going to insert my thigh measurements on it. My thigh measurement is 15.5, but I'm going to be using 16 inches because I don't want it to be too firm on my thigh. So I'm going to connect that thigh to my hip line
with my armhole curve like so. So if you don't have armhole curve, you can use your free hand to do that. So I'm just going to form a slight curve on it like so. So after forming my slight curve, the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and measure the midpoint of that tie line, of that tie measurement on the crotch depth line. So the midpoint is 8 inches, so I'm going to mark 8 inches on my waistline, on my knee length, on my feet, on the trouser length. So that is going to serve as the midpoint where we are going to be taking all our measurements from. The reason why we are marking this is because it's a pencil trouser, it's a straight and pencil trouser. So we need to share all our measurements equally on both sides. So now I'm going to take my knee circumference, which is 9.5 inches. So I'm going to divide 9.5 inches into 2, which gives me 4.75. So I'm going to place my tape and mark 4.75 on both sides of my knee length like so. So guys, and I'll go to my feet as well. My feet is 7 inches divided by 2, that's 3.5, and I'm going to be sharing the 3.5 of on both sides of that midpoint. So I'm going to go ahead now and take my curve rule and use it to connect all these points, all these marks that I just made together.
So after that, I'm going to go to my to the starting point, the line of that I marked as my starting point, and I'm going to insert my waist circumference there. My waist circumference measurement is 9.75, so I'm going to insert that. Then I'm going to add 1 inch for that intake. Then I'll take my curve rule and use it to form a slight curve to join it to the hip line. Guys, if you don't have curve rule, you can use your free hand to do it. So after doing that, I'm going to add allowances. So I've gone ahead to add half an inch allowance round the side and the midpoint of this trouser. So the next thing I want to do is to mark my dart line. So I'm going to mark my dart line of 4 inches from the center of my trouser. Then the length will be 4 inches. Then I'm going to take 1 inch on both sides of that 4 inch, and I'm going to connect it to the length to for my dart legs. So I'm going to add half an inch to the waist part of the trouser as well, which I'm going to use to join it to the band. Then I'll go ahead now to cut out my trouser. So guys, this is the front panel of our fabric. So now I'm going to go ahead now to use this front panel to cut out my back panel. So for my back panel, I've already folded my fabric into two again, and although I added more allowances to this, the length is a bit longer than that of the front panel, and the sides are wider than that of the front panel as well. And that's because we are going to be extending the waist, we are going to be extending the crotch as well, and we'll be adding allowances to the sides as well. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to go to the crotch line. So on this crotch line, I'm going to extend the crotch line by 1 inch. Guys, I'm going to extend the crotch line by 1 inch, and I'm just going to form a straight line on it like that. Then I'll go to the waistline and go up by 2 inches from the front panel waistline. Then on the other side, on the side, I'm going to go out by half an inch. So after that, I will measure what I have for the waistline of the front panel, and that's 12 inches. So I'm going to place that 12 inches on my back panel like so. So wherever that 12 inches stop, I'm going to mark go up by 2 inches wherever that 12 inches stops. So I'm just trying to reconfirm the measurement. So I'm just going to go up by 2 inches now on that line that the 12 inches stopped. So I'll take my ruler and connect those 2 points together with a straight line like so. So as you can see, the line is kind of slanty, so that's how it's going to be. So now the next thing is I'm going to connect the crotch extension to the hip line like so. So once I connect it to the hip line, you will lift up your front panel. Don't mind what I'm doing here. So you lift up your front panel and connect it to that 2 inches that we went up with. So that's the crotch extension for the crotch depth for the back panel. So I'm going to add 1 inch around this trouser. So this is what I have after adding 1 inch around the sides and the center of this trouser. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my dart line. So I'm going to measure my dart line, my dart depth of 5 inches. I'm using 5 inches for the back panel. Then I'm going to measure my dart legs, so by measuring half an inch on both sides and joining it to the dart length. So after that, we are done drafting the back panel, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. So this is what we have for both our front and back panel. So I'm just going to notch the dart point so that we know where the dart point is. So I'm going to separate the front panel from the back panel and set aside the back panel. So it's time to measure out our pocket opening. So to know our pocket opening, I'm going to be measuring about 2.5 inches on the waistline of this front panel on the side. Then I'm going to go down by about 7.5 inches like so. Then I'm going to go ahead and just connect it together with a slight curve the way I'm connecting it now. So after connecting it together with that slight curve, I will go ahead and just cut out the pocket opening like so. So after cutting out the pocket opening, this is what we have. So I've gone ahead to cut out the fabric I'm going to use for the pocket, and this is 17 inches by 14 inches. So I cut out 2 pieces for the two pockets. Then I've gone ahead to cut out my waistband, 4 inches width and about 19 inches length on fold. So now it's time to start our joining of our trouser. So the first thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and take in my darts. Then I will sew the crotch line together with half an inch. So I'll do that for both the front and back panel. So I've gone ahead to do that, and I'm just trying to give it a slight notch so that it can lie flat. And if you want to sew it down on the right side as well, to top stitch on the right side, there's nothing wrong with that. So this is both our front and the back panel. So now it's time to start working on our pocket. So to start working our pockets, we are going to place those 2 pieces of pockets together, right sides facing each other. So I'm going to lay it flat on the table like so, and I'm going to place my front panel on it and align. So aligning it like so, making sure that the sides touches the side and the length touches the length. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim it out like this. So after trimming it out, I'm going to take one piece of this pocket. I'm going to take one piece of this pocket, and I'm going to place it right side facing the right side of the trouser like so, and I'm going to join it together and top stitch. So guys, after joining it together and top stitching, this is what I have. So the next thing is that I'm going to fold it into two and make sure that the down part of the pocket is touching each other like this. See the way I'm doing it? This is how it was after top stitching it. So I'm just going to make sure the down part of the pockets of one side of the pocket is reaching the down part of the other side of the pocket. So this is how it's supposed to look after folding it. So I'll take it to my machine now, turn it to the wrong side like so, and join it together at the down part like so till I reach the start point of the pocket. Then after I join it together
or I join the pockets together inside, I'm going to join it to the side of the trouser as well. So guys, this is what I have. I've gone ahead to join both my two pockets together like this. So this is how the wrong sides look. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to place both the front panel and the back panel on each other, because we are going to start joining our the middle of our trouser together. So I'm going to pin it together, pin the crotch parts together, then pin together down to one length of the trouser. Then I'm going to sew it down with half an inch. Then on the other side as well, I will do the same. Then after that, I'm going to align the sides as well, the sides of the trouser. I'm going to align them together as well, take it to my machine and just sew the sides of the two pieces of the front and back panel together with half an inch.
So guys, this is what we have after joining the center and the sides together. So I'm going to turn it to the right side now. So after turning it to the right side, guys, this is what we have. As you can see, our trouser has already taken shape. So the next thing is to do is that I'm going to go ahead and attach my waistband to it. So assuming there is power, I will have ironed interface to it, but there's no power, so I'm just going to go ahead and attach it to attach the waistband to the trouser like so. So the reason why I didn't close any side of the waistband is because I'm attaching the zip to the side of this trouser. So the zip will start from the waistband. So I hope you understand. So I'm just going to go ahead and rip open one side of our joining like so. So after opening it, I'm going to place my waistband on it. I place the right side of the waistband on the wrong side of the trouser, and I'm going to sew it round. Then after that, I'm going to turn it inward like so and cover the rough edges. Then I'm going to go ahead and attach the zipper and fold in the end of the trouser. So guys, after doing all that, this is the final look of our trouser. As you can see, it's sitting down properly on my legs. Thank you so much guys for watching this tutorial. Please do well to like this video and subscribe to this channel to enjoy more content. I'll see you guys in the next one.